The first time they said it, it sounded innocent. 5 boys, 1 idea, 1 future. Victor typed it in the WhatsApp group. Let us go into business together. Sheon replied with a thumbs up. Emeka sent a fire emoji. Osas said, I mean. Musa added, say less. And just like that, it felt like something had begun. They were all in the same secondary school, same uniforms, same morning assembly, same neighborhood, same dreams typed into the same group chat at night. But what they carried inside them was different. Victor and Sheon had been raised on structure, respect, discipline, patience. The kind of upbringing that taught you to think before you move, to plan before you act. Musa, Emeka, and Osas had been raised on something else entirely. Survival. Faster decisions, louder environments, sharper edges. The kind of upbringing that taught you the world doesn't wait. Still, for a moment, none of that mattered, because they had a group, a name, a purpose, a future they could type about at midnight and believe in by morning. The WhatsApp group became their meeting room. Every evening, without fail, messages dropped. We should start small, maybe sell something in school. We can build something big, Just imagine where we'd be in 5 years. The vision was never the problem. Ideas? They had plenty. Movement was the problem. Weeks passed, then months. The messages slowed, not all at once, but gradually. The way a fire dies, not with a dramatic extinguishing, but with a quiet, slow fading. Let us go slowly became we will go, then we should go, then silence. No one said it out loud, but everyone felt it. Each boy was waiting for someone to lead, waiting for someone to decide, waiting for someone to move first. And because every single one of them was waiting, no one moved. But here is what nobody tells you about waiting. It does not just delay progress, it creates space. And space, when left empty for long enough, gets filled. Not always by the things you planned, but by whatever is closest, loudest, and most available. Musa started coming to school less frequently. At first, it was 1 week, then twice. Then you'd go 3 days without seeing him, and nobody asked why. Emeka became restless. The kind of restless that doesn't sit still in classrooms, doesn't laugh at the right moments, looks for stimulation in places that don't require patience. Osas laughed louder, but listened less. He was still there physically, same chair, same desk, but something behind his eyes had already left. They found a different kind of group, one that didn't sit in WhatsApp chats talking about the future, one that didn't say, let us go. It just went. Victor and Sheon noticed. Of course they did. You don't watch 3 people you grew up with slowly drift towards something darker and not feel it. They spoke about it privately, just the 2 of them, in low voices. The way you talk about things you're worried about but don't know how to fix. I don't like the direction they are going. Yeah, but it's their choice. And so they stayed where they were, watching, observing, disapproving quietly but not intervening. Because disapproval, when it stays silent, changes nothing. One evening, after months of near silence on the group chat, a message dropped from Musa. We need all of us tomorrow. There's a guy, Bruno. He's been disrespectful. Emeka followed quickly. We just want to scare him. Osas added, nothing serious, just to show him we're not soft. Victor read the messages twice. Sheon stared at his screen longer than usual. Neither of them spoke immediately, because sometimes when something is deeply wrong, your body knows before your words do. There was a heaviness to those messages, a weight that sat differently from everything else in that group chat. They both knew this was not business. This was not the future they had typed about. This was something else entirely. Sean typed, "I don't think that's a good idea." Victor added, "We shouldn't be involved in this." Osas, Musa, and Emeka pushed back. They reasoned, they minimized, they used the language boys use when they want to make dangerous things sound small. "It's nothing, we're just talking, stop overthinking." But Victor and Sean held their ground. They did not join. Musa replied, "Finally, do what you want." And that was it. No one called a parent. No one informed the school. No one escalated. They did not join, but they did not stop it. And in the space between those two things, between not joining and not stopping, a line was crossed that none of them fully understood yet. The next morning, the community did not feel different. The sun rose the same way. Birds made the same noise. Life moved with its usual, indifferent rhythm. But something irreversible was already in motion. The confrontation happened behind an abandoned building at the edge of the neighborhood. Words were exchanged first, the sharp, ugly kind that are designed to wound before fists ever rise. Then voices escalated. Then pride took over. Because pride always does in moments like that, when young men have an audience and a reputation to protect. And in one moment that nobody planned, nobody choreographed, nobody truly wanted, Bruno fell. He hit something hard, too hard. And in the 2 seconds that followed, the air changed. Everyone felt it. That shift from aggression to terror, from intention to consequence, from boys in a confrontation to people standing over something they could not take back. They panicked the way people do when reality arrives too quickly, loud, unforgiving, and impossible to rewind. "What do we do? This is your fault. No, you pushed him." Blame moved faster than truth. Fear settled deeper than reason. And then, as if silence could offer safety, they chose it. They left him there, Bruno, on the cold ground, and walked away, carrying more weight in their departure than they had ever carried in their presence. They agreed, without saying it outright, that some things were better buried than spoken. But life has a way of refusing quiet endings. A farmer nearby had seen it. Not every detail, but enough. Enough to know that a boy had fallen and others had walked away without looking back. He didn't hesitate. Some people don't. He ran, found help, returned. They lifted Bruno carefully, as though gentleness could undo what had already been done. The road to the hospital felt longer than it was. Time, in moments like that, stretches. Not to give hope, but to test it. Hours later, in a room that smelled too clean for such heavy news, Bruno was declared dead. The community went quiet in a way that noise could not fix. Parents whispered more. Teachers looked longer. Children walked faster past certain streets. And 5 boys, once just boys with a group chat and a fire emoji and a dream, about to go into business together, became something else entirely in the eyes of everyone around them. When the investigation began, the truth unfolded, layer by layer. Musa, Emeka, Osas, arrested first, charged, then sentenced. Because of the severity of the outcome and the pattern of escalating behavior that had been visible long before that evening, they were given longer sentences in a Borstal training institution. The court did not see confusion. It saw escalation that had been ignored for too long. Then came Victor and Seun. They had expected their distance to protect them. It did not. The court asked, "Were you aware of the plan?" "Yes." "Did you attempt to stop it beyond private disagreement?" "No." "Did you report it or intervene?" "No." The judgment was different, but still heavy. Victor and Seun received lesser sentences in a Borstal training institution, not for participation, but for inaction. Because the law does not only weigh what was done, it also weighed what was knowingly left undone. The judge's words were simple. You did not cause the act, but you were part of the chain that allowed it to happen. That sentence followed them longer than the punishment itself, because it named something they had never been taught early enough, something schools don't put in textbooks and parents don't always know how to say. Responsibility is not only in action, it is also in awareness without response. Years later, the story would be told differently by different people. Some would blame the boys who acted, others would question the ones who stayed silent. A few would wonder about the system, the school, the neighborhood, the adults who were present but not watching closely enough. But underneath all of it, the truth remained unchanged. It did not begin at that abandoned building. It did not begin the evening that message dropped. It began years earlier with 5 boys, a group chat, a fire emoji, and one sentence: "Let us go." Because what they didn't understand then, what none of them grasped in those evenings of big talk and small movement, was that "let us go" is not just a statement. It is a test of leadership, a call to responsibility, a moment that asks quietly but seriously, who will step forward? Who will stand firm? Who will act when it matters, not just when it's easy? The group chat was supposed to be the beginning of something built. Instead, it became the beginning of something that unraveled. Not because the idea was wrong, not because the boys were evil, but because no one was willing to do the one thing that would have changed everything. Move first, lead, act. And sometimes, the greatest tragedy is not the wrong action taken, but the right action never taken. Let us go is not just about moving together. It is about choosing direction, taking responsibility, and acting at the right time. Because when no one steps up, everyone pays.